Lots of activity in the South African economy at the moment, some of it optimistic, some of it, well, will it ever amount to anything? And lots of fear. One of the big fights that is happening in South Africa right now is a fight between the former chief executive of Old Mutual and the company which fired him for a second time last week. So he's going back to court to fight that particular battle. Is there an easy way out of this, Patrick? I mean, do we get a dignified exit for Peter Moyo out of Old Mutual? Because surely he can't go back into the building, not while the board, which is meant to oversee his work, is still in place.
No, I'm afraid no. I don't see a way out other than a big check to Peter to let him go. I don't see him coming back into Old Mutual. And in my view, I think once all of this is done and dusted, I think the board needs to, reflect on its own actions. Did they follow the rule of law and how they actually went about it? And I would prefer a situation where they actually seek a new mandate from the shareholders, stand up for re-election, even though some of their terms will not be up for re-election, but they need to stand up and say, guys, we are accountable, this is what we did, this is the logic, take us into their confidence, and then say, on the back of that, we need you to reconfirm our mandate so that we can go back and do what we need to do, because ultimately it's going to be the same board that's going to have to appoint the next CEO.
Yeah,
right?
and drastic times call for drastic measures, Paul.
Look, I have no interest whatsoever in Old Mutual. Old Mutual to me is like an aging supertanker that leaks and it's got rust and it's floating around in the Mediterranean somewhere, not actually doing anything useful anymore. I don't care who runs the business. They're all idiots and they should all leave. They should all go. The board, the management team, it's just a mess of epic proportions. I don't know what to say anymore other than...
Okay, let's move on to Naspers, or to something that you might be positive about. Prosus, a huge bill to take the international assets, we've spoken about this many times, to Amsterdam. People begin to get cold feet. There's some concerns that this is not going to be...
No, I'm thrilled and excited about it. I think Prosus is going to do very well. I'm hoping that European investors are going to say, wonderful, wonderful, we have a European company run by a cheese-eating Dutchman, Bob van Dijk, who looks like a European, and he's got these incredible assets, Tencent in China and Delivery Hero and Mail.ru and OLX.
Talking about documents. So Naspers prints a document this thick, of which about 32 pages is risks. Yeah. I mean, maybe they'd
throw that part out. There are no risks. It's going to be marvelous. So what will happen is people will add up all the bits and then they'll say this Prosus thing should trade at, I don't know, however many euros.
The debt burden sitting in within some of those businesses that don't make money. The only thing that really does make money is Tencent. And that is the thing that Naspers has been carrying the Naspers share price and the valuation of the JSE for so long, Patrick Matidi. Those risks you cannot ignore, surely. I mean, Paul can be blasé sometimes. Yeah. But do you see the upside that Paul clearly believes is there?
No, I think there is a lot of upside for some of the reasons that Paul has mentioned. I think the debt, yes, it is a concern, but I think over the last while they have demonstrated an ability to monetize, and in some instances actually get out of businesses that are actually they're not showing scale and are not likely to break even anytime soon. So I think there is some discipline in terms of capital allocation, but I think the excitement though on the upside is going to be a unique asset that is available to global investors, especially in the euro area where you do have a bit of scarcity. So you are likely to see a bit of a re-rate.
It's going to be the biggest technology company on the Euronext. I mean, it's very significant.
Absolutely.
But what's going to get you to convince your clients to invest back in South Africa? I mean, at some point, valuations become so blooming attractive that you've got to be saying to people, the vast majority of our clients are invested offshore. At some point, a Discovery is worth buying, a Sasol, believe it or not, is worth buying, an Old Mutual maybe even one day might be worth buying.
Look, mostly we are hanging in there grimly to stocks that have underperformed very badly in the last couple of years.
Like what?
Like Aspen, like Discovery you mentioned, like Woolworths, I can go on. We've got a couple that have done okay, like Naspers, Bidcorp, which had good results out this morning. So what we're saying to people, if they've got rands that they absolutely have to invest and they cannot take them offshore, then yes, buy some more of those. I tell you, I would be very happy to recommend the Aspens and Discoveries of the world if the NHI weren't looming like an ogre in the background. Because my worry is that more damage will be done to those companies. But I think if you own them already, and the Sasol you mentioned, I mean, holy smokes, can things go any worse? I don't know. But hold what you've got, because if you sell now, all you're doing is it's like selling a house in one of South Africa's cities at the moment. You're just basically giving it away to the last and most resilient buyer out there. So as far as equities are concerned, I think just hang on to what you got. But I wouldn't be rushing in with fresh cash other than a couple of isolated opportunities.
I get the sense that you're not yet in that last and resilient buyer mode, Patrick Matidi, that you're also concerned that things don't work out as we hope they will.
Yeah, look, that's one of the big risks in this market, that we have this ongoing sort of stagnation. Despite plans, we all get false starts and things don't sustain themselves, gain momentum. But on the market side, as I mentioned earlier, on the face of it looks exciting, it looks reasonably priced, but we do worry that the catalyst may take a while to come through. And over and above that, we suspect there may be an element of let's wait for the first green shoots and get conviction first before we actually jump in, because the last thing you want is to be the first one in and have to sit it out and hang around and wait and wait and wait and watch these bombs explode around you with nowhere else to go.
That is, of course, the risk. And that is a wrap for this month. Thank you very much to Patrick Matidi. He is with Aluwani Capital Partners, and to Paul Theron, the Managing Director of Vestac. Interesting conversation, tough environment in the world, lots of concerns. The yield curve, which may not keep Paul Theron awake at night, is something that is bothering many investors around the globe. Donald Trump's tweets are a concern. The enmity which is developing in the trade discussions and the lack of discussion between China and the United States is another big concern. And in South Africa, yet another plan has been put on the table. Is this a plan that finally is going to be one that is different, one that is workable, one that is implementable? Is it one that President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to be able to convince his cabinet colleagues to take to their government departments and force the implementation of? We live in hope as we get to survive yet another month here on Taking Stock and ENC Africa. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.